चीफ जस्टिस यहया आफरीदी तकरीब से खिताब कर रहे हैं, आपको बराह रास्त लिए चलेंगे।
Justice, respected chief ministers, respected judges, respected members of the diplomatic corps and development partners, respected representatives of the provincial governments, respected members of the bar, civil society, respected members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. I would first like to share with you two anecdotes that have had a profound impact on my understanding of the criminal justice system in general and the prison rights in particular. The first relates to my days in the university when, while attending a course on prisoners' rights, my university professor was explaining the facilities that are provided to more advanced European jurisdictions. Half in jest, I remarked that if such facilities are provided in Pakistan, many might willingly choose prison. The professor paused and said something I have never forgotten. He said, "Punishment is denial of freedom. Beyond that, the prisoner must not suffer." That remark, ladies and gentlemen, speaks directly of the issue that we are to deliberate upon today. Moving on to the next incident, which is not too long ago. After assuming office of the Chief Justice of Pakistan, in one of my visits, I visited the central jail of Dera Ismail Khan. While walking through the barracks, I spoke with a death row inmate who had been convicted to death, and I asked him a few questions which would normally be asked by an inspecting judge. I asked him, "Do you have clean drinking water? Do you have adequate food? Do you have access to health care?" In response, he looked at me and without hesitation said, "Sir, I do not need food, water to drink, or health care. Please ensure that my death appeal pending in the court since 2017 is decided." Ladies and gentlemen, that was not an inmate addressing his Chief Justice. It was one human being asking the other whether the system responsible for his life had remembered him at all or had forgotten about him. You can imagine the impact it had on me. You'll be pleased to know positive information also. That when we embarked on this journey to address death appeals, we had cases pending of death appeals filed in 2015. And by the grace of God, we've been able to decide 606 cases, death appeals, till 30th of June 2026. Wait. You'll also be pleased to know that all cases filed prior to 31st of December 2025 have been decided, barring 3 cases which are fixed for Monday and Tuesday. 70 cases were filed after 1st of January 2026 till 30th, out of which 52 cases have been decided. We are left with 19. Very encouraging, but not enough. We have a long journey to go, but there is positive response coming from the courts. Now to why we are all together. Prisons, as we know, are constitutionally a provincial subject. The responsibility for prison administration rests with the provincial governments. The Constitution mandates that. This conference, therefore, is not for the judiciary setting goals or extending or redefining the limits of prison facilities. What this gathering truly represents is an opportunity for the provincial governments to come together under one roof, by choice and by shared responsibility, to address the challenge that affects not only the prison administration, no, but the functioning and credibility of the criminal justice system as a whole. This effort, which transcends beyond political divide, deserves earnest commendation. I sincerely thank each one of you. There's no doubt about that. Ladies and gentlemen, over the course of my judicial career, I have come to understand that the true measure of criminal justice system is not found solely in the courtroom or in judgments. If one wishes to assess whether the criminal justice system is functioning effectively, its strengths, its weaknesses, and the remedies required, one must look beyond statistics and just visit a prison. Prisons are the end point of the criminal justice process. They are the culmination of what commenced with the commission of that offense. How did the investigation proceed with the investigation? How did the prosecutors prosecute? How did the judiciary administer justice in coming to the conclusion? They expose the system's broader shortcomings, its abilities or inabilities to balance justice, public safety, and human dignity. As for judicial accountability is concerned, I do not stand here claiming that the criminal justice system is delivering perfectly. I'm not doing that. I'm very clear in that. We have judges duly conducting jail inspections, Criminal Justice Coordination Committee meeting regularly. But yet these mechanisms have not produced the outcome aligning with the urgency of the problem. We must acknowledge this plainly, because reform begins with honesty. But accountability does not rest on one institution alone. Criminal justice system functions in a chain. If one link is missing, the burden shifts to the other, and ultimately it leaves lasting scars on the prison. As institution in charge of the administration of criminal justice, we must all recognize that we are responsible for human lives, lives that matter, and lives that we are answerable for. As Chief Justice of Pakistan, who chairs the Apex Judicial Policy Making Committee, the NJPMC. Ladies and gentlemen, NJPMC is a policy making body which has all the Chief Justices of Pakistan, of the High Courts, as members, and the chairman is the Chief Justice of Pakistan. That's where we sit down and we contemplate and decide and determine and recommend. It is a recommendatory where we recommend policies to be adopted. Now, when I became the chairman of this committee, two fundamental issues had to be addressed. First, why, despite regular judicial inspections and statutory reporting system which were in place, cases continue to remain pending beyond reasonable period? Why? One. Two, why statutory grievance redressal mechanism within prisons are not functioning effectively, forcing inmates to seek relief from courts? The systems are there, everything is in place. There was a disconnect. What is that disconnect? Now, it was in this context that we decided that we should have a 3-member committee for each province. 2 parliamentarians, 1 from the opposition, one from the Treasury, both having served, and one promising young lawyer to assist them as coordinators in their visits to jails and in drafting their recommendations. Well, visits were done, recommendations were filed, they reached their NG. We said, these are the recommendations. Please, it is up to you how you want to proceed with it. We identified the systemic issues which required to be addressed. I must acknowledge and thank not only the parliamentarians, but also the coordinators of the committee for each province in their time, insight, and commitment devoted to this cause. If I may, I want to name for the province of Balochistan, Ms. Shakir Bibi, Mr. Haroon Bilal Sharif, for the province of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Ms. Aisha Bano for the province of Punjab, Ms. Amina Qadir for the province of Sindh, Ms. Haya Iman Zahid. Ladies and gentlemen, this conference for the first time has brought all provinces under one roof. Not to assign blame, but to accept shared responsibility. Ladies and gentlemen, it is for the judiciary to point fingers at the executive, or for the executive to point fingers at the judiciary, or for one provincial government to point fingers at the other. The National Prison Reform Action Plan represents a collective recognition that piecemeal efforts are not enough. What is required is concerted coordination and cohesive commitment. I urge every institution represented here to seriously attend to the pulse of the criminal justice system. That pulse, ladies and gentlemen, is found in our prison. Reform the prisons, the criminal justice system will reform itself. Ladies and gentlemen, I once again extend my sincere gratitude to each one of you for joining us today. Let us resolve that our criminal justice system remains grounded in human dignity and build a system for future generation to be proud of. Inshallah, Pakistan, Paindabad. Thank you.
जेल इस्लाहात पर
कॉन्फ्रेंस चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ पाकिस्तान यहिया आफरीदी खिताब कर रहे थे और उन्होंने कहा जेलों में साफ पानी और सेहत की सहूलियात की फराहमी नागुज़ीर है। ज़ेरे इल्तिवा केसेस को निपटाने में अहम पेशरफ्त हुई है।